Dharanjot, what's the latest that you're picking from the ground? What's the mood like at Jantar Mantar? Get us more.
Well, Diksha, the mood has definitely been very, very loud, but the nature of its loudness has changed in the past few hours. For weeks now, we've been seeing the loudness in terms of chants and sloganeering and a whole slew of demands that were being made. Now that has completely shifted in terms of it becoming celebratory in nature, in terms of a lot of singing and dancing that's now happening over there. And so we're looking at the mood completely shift. There was, a bit of a, and which this is something that really needs to be talked about. The entire protest and demonstration has happened in very, very difficult circumstances. It's been very, very humid, sultry weather. There have been no fancy facilities at the demonstration. Students have been sitting or standing for long hours of the day, long hours into the night, consistently protesting. We saw a lot of makeshift sort of facilities that were temporarily set up over there in terms of medication or food, and even there were challenges that the protesters faced in that. So this was definitely a movement that is not just against political odds, but it was also against logistical odds, the difficulty of which we have been seeing for the past few days and weeks. And added to pressure was the hefty security that was beefed up around the entire area in central Delhi, and the unfortunate instances of clashes, which were further compounded by a lot of excessive use of force by police and other security personnel, especially the rapid action forces. So all of that has now culminated into a sense of celebration, happiness, relief, emotions that have been now streaming through the entire crowd. Because the interesting part here, Disha, is that so many children that we've been talking to for the past so many days, who also didn't want to talk on camera but had conversations with us off of it, were talking about how, sometimes they did not tell their parents that they were going there, or they went there despite their parents saying, no, be careful, the situation is such, the weather is such. But students, youngsters still came out because they felt so strongly about it. And it's important to take into consideration India's entire dynamic over here. We're a young country with the majority of the population under the age of 35. And so you're talking about an aspirational group of people who want answers for a system that has long been tarnished by flaws, by corruption, by actions taken by a handful of individuals who really, kind of derails the future of the country with respect to the youngsters who are taking such tough competitive exams. And so all of that culminated into this movement. It culminated into a very, very non-negotiable demand that the Cockroach Janta Party and the protesters had. And all of that has now led to a victory for the movement, and also for the CJP, which began as an online satire movement. If we look back at it just a few weeks ago, it began with one tweet and then an Instagram page which gained millions of followers within a matter of hours and just days. And then from that point, we saw the first physical protest on the 6th of June. And then we saw smaller other protests happening in different parts of the country until all of it culminated to a final sit-in at Jantar Mantar on June the 20th. And so it's not been a very long protest in terms of the time of it, but it's been a difficult one. It's been a challenging one that has been riddled with instances, with narratives, and with a lot of pressure. But ultimately, it appears that the youngsters of the country have won, and the government has finally taken their demands seriously, their frustrations seriously. And this, of course, now opens the doors for a very fruitful conversation in the coming days, weeks, and even months ahead, Diksha.
Right, Dharamjot, you've rightly pointed out that the community in the past 1 month, it came together in ways that did transcend the physical boundaries, the boundaries of age, religion, in ways that we hadn't seen in a really long while. And of course, it has all culminated in the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. And of course, big reforms are on the way. We'll have to wait and watch. But for now, Dharamjot and Siddhant, thank you so much for getting us all those details. With that, it's time for us to slip into a very short break. You're watching Beyond World is One. Stay tuned.